so heartless, and you don't care, and I don't even know what else besides.
Hey everyone, welcome back! Jade Shadow has just dropped, and big changes are live. We have the minor frost and ember tweaks, the new elevator game mode, new Jade Warframe, armor and health changes for factions, and more. But most importantly, the status rework. Now, I will keep Jade for next video. I want to talk about Blast, and Blast specifically. This element has had an awkward history, going from knocking down enemies to reducing their accuracy, to its current monstrosity. I kind of miss the knockdown since it was good for ragdoll setups and finishers, but people wanted headshots back then. Anyways, right now, this is Blast. Yep, that's just Blast alone. It's pretty disgusting what it can do, right? But you want to know what pairs perfectly with the two remaining elements not from Blast? Corrosive. After almost 8 years, rainbow builds are back. Of course, setups with innate elements or elemental buffs will help a lot, but currently, anything built for Corrosive Blast will work extremely well. It also benefits from enemy armor now capping out at 90% DR only, no matter how high the true value actually goes. Blast, the once forgotten, armor-resisted element with bad status effects, has ascended to the throne. So how does Blast work right now? You build up a bomb. When you apply Blast Procs, 1.5 seconds after, it explodes for a small radius, scaling off a fraction of your total damage. But if you can reach 10 blast stacks, a much larger 5-meter blast radius will be dealt with higher scaling than your original total damage in 5 meters. Yes, your single target damage turns into an AoE. It has 0 noticeable falloff when I was testing, and it also instantly resets to 0 stacks if you hit 10, letting you build Blast Procs again. In other words, Blast has become what Gas wish it was after the Gas nerfs many years ago. Gas doesn't scale damage with elemental percent. Blast does. Gas is capped to 10 stacks. Blast resets stacks after reaching 10. Gas has poor complementary status, being electric and cold for magnetic, whereas Blast is complemented by electric and toxin, making corrosive to strip armor. Everything Gas ever wanted is now in Blast setups. Rip Gas builds, you will be missed. So which weapons take advantage of the new Blast changes best? Anything that spits out a ton of Blast procs so you can reach 10 stacks for the huge bonus explosion, of course. While Blast is quite balanced in general right now and works well on most weapons, the worst offenders with ridiculous Blast spread make it overpowered. These fall under 3 main categories: beams, status-based AoEs, and forced AoE effects. Let's look at them in order. Why are beams busted with Blast? Firstly, they easily cap out the 10 blast stacks to reset and trigger the big explosion constantly for better scaling. Secondly, remember that beams double dip multi-shot for status chance calculations. It appears both when calculating damage per tick and then calculating damage per dot tick, just like Bane's double dipping. This is due to multi-shot being condensed on beams into damage multipliers of singular ticks, rather than creating extra damage instances to minimize CPU load. Therefore, beam weapons can apply blast procs extremely fast, but also deal more damage per blast proc than normal. Blast proc explosions are perfect spheres, meaning they can hit anyone in range, just like Gas can, thus leading to quadratic scaling on grouping setups, like Nautilus. This also means chain beam weapons have a massive advantage on blast setups, since they can easily hit many enemies at once and instantly chain to the next enemy without player input when previous enemies die along in the chain. Tord Incarnon, Ocucore, Glaxion, Vandal, Kuva Nucor, hell, even Larkspur Prime are obvious notable beams for this. So let's look at the next category, status-based AoEs. There are not that many weapons falling under this, but essentially they just spread blast very consistently in an AoE. Lavos Valence Formation strats is notorious for this, because he can allow any weapon in the game to force proc blast. Just slap it on any AoE weapon and you have fireworks. Certain weapons are also very good at proccing blast in general, and this includes the Halakar Wraith and Wolf Sledges, who benefit from melee mods and scale very high status chance. Halakar force procs blast on explosion already, whereas Wolf Sledge is base 50% status chance on the explosions caused by the throw. Anything that has good status chance on AoE will do well with blast. Finally, the last option are forced AoE effects. The most obvious candidate for this right now is Melee Influence. It turns any single target melee into a walking AoE. Before, we would mod for Viral Electric to get better scaling on the chain electric procs. Now, you can mod Blast Electric so that your AoE melee influence spreads their own AoE. A ton of blast procs. You will literally constantly cap out 10 blast procs all around you with any decent attack speed hybrid or status melee, blowing everything up. More importantly, you can run Nourish with Blast Electric setups for Viral if needed, retaining the old Viral Electric setup pre-Jade Shadow, but now with new and improved Blast. Remember that Speedva video I posted half a year ago with Rakta Dagger armor strip shenanigans with Influence? Yeah, so enemy health got buffed a lot this update, right? Well, the blast procs on that setup can counter that health buff, and now it just feels like how it used to be, pre-Jade Shadow. Honestly, the sky's the limit at the moment. Feel free to experiment, as blast works quite well now on almost everything. But tools that can spit out as much blast procs as possible to cap out the 10 stacks for bonus damage will be the standouts. That's beam weapons, AoE status weapons, and forced AoE effects like Influence. Jade is actually a perfect candidate for these kind of blast builds because then you don't need to worry on corrosive procs as much and can just focus on blast weighting. This is because her third ability gives her a persistent armor strip in the direction that she's facing. So if you do really want to try the new advent on how blast procs work right now, try it out on Jade. I'm sure it won't disappoint. Do stay tuned as I will be dropping the Jade build guide early tomorrow too. It is a fair bit of work, but I think she's incredibly fun. On the other hand, I hope she doesn't get bonked before then, as let me tell you, her kid is just busted. Did you expect to see Blast become this strong? I'm honestly quite surprised. It's crazy how it's basically done an entire 180, and seeing it enter the meta space, it's kinda weird. It'll be a little bit, but I do intend to look at her trio of weapon collections, Harmony, Kantare, and even Song too as well, so do stay tuned for those videos as well over the next couple of days. Cheers! If this is your first time watching, feel free to leave a like or better yet subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. 79.5% of you are not subscribed. I'm trying my best to get you the new information out always, as soon as possible like I've been doing with the Jade Shadow update. Stick around if you want to see interesting memes and builds on a nearly daily basis. You don't want to miss out on any of that, do you? That'll be it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and see you all next time.